Hello and welcome to a DFS strategy video for the 2023 Shriners Children's Open. My name is Eric, and here at SweetSpot DFS, it's all about trying to hit the optimal lineup every single week. And we do that by looking at the bucket system as well as the marquee tee times. If you're unfamiliar with the bucket system, I do have a video link in the description below. You really only need to watch the first 5 minutes, but it is an 18-minute long video, so if you're interested in that, again, video link in the description below. The marquee tee times have just proven to be successful over the last 60-some weeks. So we're going to continue to do that. And what I've been failing to do in the last couple fall videos is show you how well the bucket system, well, just the sweet spot process, I should say, how well that has worked in previous tournaments. So we'll recap the Sanderson Farms by going over how well the buckets did as well as the marquee tee times. That way you can get a little comfortable using that for this week. One other thing that I've been failing to do is remind you guys to use the cheat sheet that I have, again, a link in the description for. I usually go through these videos and explain the buckets, and you wouldn't know what the buckets are for each of these players unless you use the cheat sheet. So while I go through this video, I think it would be very advantageous if you use the cheat sheet. So again, there's a link in the description below. You have a bunch of information. This gets updated every Tuesday. So if you want to bookmark that link, I highly recommend doing that. I update this every Tuesday night. So, and I overwrite the previous tournament with the new tournament. If you were to go look at any of the other videos, they're going to have this link in the description, but it's going to have whatever this week's tournament is, or whatever the week of the tournament, that's the tournament that'll be in the cheat sheet. So again, this gets updated. So just bookmark it. And when you do come here, go to the file menu, make a copy of it. So you want to make a copy every single week, basically, because that way you can go to the filter button and use the filter that I created. You can also mark this up however you like. You can update it with whatever information you want. But yeah, the buckets are located here in columns B through F, and then we have the salaries here. That makes up the whole bucket system. All these little numbers here, they identify the golfer in the bucket. And then when we scroll over, you get all this other information: course fit, last week's scoring stats, recent form stats, season-long strokes gain stats, all this good stuff. So this is within the cheat sheet. Again, link in the description. Check it out while listening to this video. It'll make more sense. Now, just to talk more about these fall swing videos, if you've noticed in the Fortinet as well as the Sanderson Farms Championship, I want to keep these under 25 minutes long. A little bit of it is just kind of doing an exercise to see if I can do them efficiently under 25 minutes. Also, just to see how many viewers I get, like if it changes or if it doesn't. And also to give myself more time to work on the database as well as the website. So it all goes towards something. And that's why I'm trying to keep these as short as possible. And that's what I intend to do for this one, but we'll go through the bucket system. We'll go through the marquee tee times. We'll look at last week's sweet spot process, how well it did. And I also want to create some lineups for you guys. One thing that's also available is the optimizer. So I'm giving away an optimizer. You do need to be subscribed to this channel in order to get the optimizer. And then you will also have to participate on this channel. So either comment down below or share it on Twitter, and then email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com, letting me know you're interested in the optimizer, and I will send it to you. Lots of information on here. Not only does it build lineups, but you can save lineups and import them. You can see the different combinations, although I don't have that populated right now. I will by the time I send it to you. I also have the cheat sheet already built into here, so you guys can get it that way. We have the bucket system. A lot of good stuff here. So if you want the optimizer, again, contact me right there, sweetspotdfs@gmail.com. Be subscribed to this channel, and then either comment down below or share this on Twitter. Those are 2 ways you can participate on this channel. Going into giveaways, I'm giving $30 away as long as we can reach the goal of 500 subscribers by the end of the week. If we don't, I'll shave $10 off. This will be worth $20 next week. Your entries into this giveaway will never be lost. Not until we actually run the giveaway. If you want entries into it, you got to comment down below. If you need a topic, give me your 2 favorite golfers that you're going to be building your lineups around. you also need to be subscribed to the channel. I think that goes without saying. But if you want a chance to win, that's how you can do it. Now, if we don't reach the goal by the time, you know, this giveaway reaches down to $10, again, I shave $10 off every single week until we hit the goal. So it's my way to reward you guys for participating, my way to reward all those people who are new to subscribe. I'm still giving away $10 no matter what, and it just requires your participation. So every single week you participate, you get 1 free entry or 2 free entries into this giveaway until I run it. So any of you that have participated, you know, from the Fortinet Championship, the Sanderson Farms Championship, all your entries are being thrown into this giveaway until whenever we run it. Then I run it with as many giveaways as you've accumulated, or as many entries as you've accumulated. So hopefully that doesn't confuse people out there. I know I can explain things a little weird, but basically I'm still rewarding all of those that participate on this channel in one way or another. So if you want a chance to win money, you just got to participate. That's all. A second giveaway of sorts, this is like a refund. If you sign up using the promo code SweetSpot on PrizePicks and put at least $20 in your account, I'm going to give you your $20 back. That way you can play it for free. Plus, PrizePicks is going to match your deposit up to $100. That is like that's the basic bonus that everyone gets. You use this promo code, PrizePicks will match your deposit up to $100. Everyone's doing that. However, not everyone is giving money away for using the promo code. I am. It helps me out. It'll help you out. We get to play PrizePicks for fun. You can, once I get back into doing PrizePicks videos, you can tail my picks. We can try to win more money. But either way, use the promo code SweetSpot and put $20 in your account. I'll give you your $20 back. And again, they match your deposit up to $100. So your 20 turns into 40. It doesn't really cost you that much. Just your sign up information and that initial deposit. Okay, let's go ahead and get in this thing. I'm going to start with last week's, the Sanderson Farms Championship. We're going to go through the SweetSpot process, talk about the things that worked well and the things that did not. So when we look at the buckets, we're looking at this column right here. Yeah, you guys can see it on the screen. Anything that indicates a yes means that the bucket was successful. And that's based off the projections that we had coming into the week. Now you'll see that the last week buckets are empty. Don't look at the last week buckets. There was no tournament prior to that. It was the President's Cup, and I don't include that in on the buckets. We skipped this when we went over the Sanderson Farms Championship. But if we look at the rest of the buckets, the last year buckets, the course history buckets, the recent form buckets, the salary buckets, and the stroke chain buckets, they were all successful. We had 100% success rate with the buckets during the Sanderson Farms Championship. Now, what does that mean? I'm sure some of you guys are confused how I determine what success is. Remember, we take the projections. We round up in column G. So this max projection, we always round up. So the last year 1 buckets, that says 1.72. That means 2. We round up to 2. This one we round down. And 1.03 turns into 1. So projections in the past used to be 1 to 2 is what I would tell you you'd want to grab golfers from. You want to grab 1 to 2 golfers from the last year 1 bucket, throw it into your lineup. What I've learned over the years is if this doesn't reach over 2, then your minimum is automatically 0. You want a 2-point gap between your projections. So therefore, because this isn't over 2, that means the minimum projection is 0. We saw 0 golfers from this bucket inside the top 10. We saw 0 inside the optimal lineup and 0 inside the SweetSpot optimal, which is a whole thing in its own. I'm not going to get into that right now. As you can see, if we went by the old rules 1 to 2, this would have failed. But because it's 0 to 2, it was successful. Now, I also, in this next bucket, this is also a 0 to 2. Well, 3 finished inside the top 10. The bucket system primarily looks at top 10 finishers. Again, I explained that in the bucket system video, so if you're unaware of that, I'd highly encourage you to go watch that video. But I am more it is more important to me to go over the optimal lineup and the sweet spot optimal than it is just looking at top 10s. Top 10 is kind of your blanket stat to look at. But if we dive into the optimal lineup and the sweet spot optimal, that is what we're trying to achieve, is the optimal lineup. It's more important to look here. So you can see 3 finished inside the top 10. My projection is 0 to 2. That would have failed. But because we only look at the optimal lineup and the sweet spot optimal to determine success, 1 to 2. All right, you know, and so it worked out. 0 to 2, 1 in the optimal lineup, 2 in the sweet spot optimal. So that, if you just follow this all the way down, you can see how each bucket fared with the optimal lineup, the sweet spot optimal, and my projections. So I'll scroll down this very slowly. You guys can pause the video if you want to take a look at this. You can see no bucket failed except for the last week buckets, which don't look at those because those didn't qualify. But it was 100% success rate, which is wonderful. I mean, it's not the only time we've ever seen that happen. You know, usually we might see 1 or 2, sometimes 3 buckets that are incorrect. We have over a 93% clip of a success rate with the buckets hitting. This is further proof that it works. Now, when it comes to the marquee tee times, I've highlighted this for every 3 golfers. That is 1 group, basically. I do have this sorted by group rank. So your number 1 group was Sahith Theegala, Trey Mullinax, and Luke List. Neither one of those guys did well. That's okay, because from the marquee tee times, you want to grab somewhere between 2 to 4 golfers from the marquee tee times. That is all of the golfers here highlighted in green, the sweet spot rank over here, highlighted in green with black text. Those are your marquee tee times. And then we also have honorable mentions that I include in the optimizer. That's down here as well. As you can see, Keegan Bradley and Sepp Straka were in the marquee tee times, and they were in the optimal lineup. These little black tick marks here indicate the optimal lineup. And the green highlight of the salary means they're also in the sweet spot optimal. So they're in both optimal lineups that I look at. And it follows the rule with the marquee tee times. Grab somewhere between 2 to 4 and not of the same group. So you do not want to grab golfers from the same group. So if we look here, Scott Stallings and Keegan Bradley, they're in the same group. You know, they're in game 12. They're my 3rd best group. Although Scott Stallings finished 13th, that's still pretty good to put in your lineup. And you probably would have won a lot of money, but we're looking at the optimal lineup. It is kind of a stretch to always be looking at the optimal. That's why I do the sweet spot optimal, which is above $49,000, the best lineup you can build over $49,000. They're still in it together. Or I should say this, Keegan Bradley and Sepp Straka are still in it together, but Scott Stallings is not in that lineup. So just further proves, grab 2 to 4 golfers from the marquee tee times, and then also just don't grab golfers from the same playing groups. If I scroll down here, you're going to see that they're all spread out. These little black tick marks, again, that is your optimal lineup. So you don't see anyone next to Mackenzie Hughes. If I scroll down, Mark Hubbard, no one in his group was in the optimal lineup. Same goes with Garrick Higo. No one was in his group. Same with Dean Burmester. I'm sorry, I highlighted the wrong guys. And that's just kind of how it goes for most of these tournaments. Sometimes you do see golfers from the same group. I really only focus on the marquee tee times because that's also the optimizer. If I were to build it out to include every group, there'd be way too many arguments that the optimizer wouldn't be able to perform. Like, it wouldn't be able to create a lineup. So I go hand in hand with the optimizer. I just look at the top 9 groups. I don't do the top 10, I just do the top 9 groups, and those are kind of my quote-unquote marquee tee times, but it's really the top 7 groups. Either way, Sanderson Farms Championship, it worked out. Now let's go ahead and get to the Shriners Children's Open and go over the bucket system here. Again, highly encourage you guys to follow along with me with the cheat sheet. Again, link in the description below. But going over these buckets one by one, we're going to start with the last year buckets, and I'm just going to show you how to look at this. So when it comes to last year buckets, we want to find somewhere between 0 to 2 last year ones. Those are golfers who top 20 at this event last year. 0 to 2 last year twos, 0 to 1 last year threes, 0 to 1 last year fours, 1 to 3 last year fives, and 2 to 4 last year sixes. Now, I do have kind of a quality check over here with this other max projection. This is not on the cheat sheet. This is just for me. This is kind of a trial and error just to see how well it works. This will give me kind of a more conservative number. So this 3.24, if we round up, it would be 4. This is 4.1, the max projection that I have. That would round up to 5. So you could look at this 2 to 5, but a conservative projection is going to be 4. So 2 to 4, I think, is totally fine. I think it's a smart way to go. So those are your last year buckets. Moving on to last week buckets, which we can do this week because we had the Sanderson Farms Championship last week. We want somewhere between 0 to 2 last year ones. Interesting note, these columns here show you the min max of each of these buckets. The minimum means how basically you can substitute, or you can put the sentence together. At least one golfer, so anything that's minimum, you can go at least whatever that number is, has shown up inside the top 10 every single year that I have done buckets for, and that goes from 2013 to 2021. So at least one golfer from the last week one buckets has been inside the top 10 every single year that I have recorded data going back to 2013. The same projection or the same can be said for last week bucket twos. That's your 20 to 40 range. So someone who finished within 20th to 40th place last week. We want 0 to 2 of those, but also at least one has been inside the top 10 every single year. We have 0 to 1 last week threes, 0 to 1 last week fours, 0 to 2 last week fives. But again, there's been at least one every single year. And then 2 to 5 last week sixes. But if we use that conservative projection over here, it only goes up to 4. So 2 to 4. But again, at least one has been inside the top 10 every single year. This is pretty remarkable. You could literally find 4 golfers to put in your lineup from each of these buckets. Some of these buckets are kind of large, but like the top 2 up here, you're trying to grab one golfer from a pool of 19. Another one golfer from the last week twos out of a group of 16 golfers. And then the other ones are kind of big, where you'd have to figure out how you'd want to do that. But you have 4 out of 6 spots that you could set aside for each of these buckets that have at least one inside the top 10 every single year. Entirely up to you guys. I don't think you really have to, but you certainly can. Those are all the projections. Again, follow along the cheat sheet. Going to the course history buckets, which you could also say tournament history buckets. We want 0 to 2 course history ones, 0 to 2 course history twos, notable at least one every single year that I've done course history inside the top 10. 0 to 2 course history threes, although it says 1 to 2. Remember, if this isn't over 2, that means this is 0. 1 to 3 course history fours, but the conservative number is less than 2, so I actually would prefer this to be 0 to 3. That's how I would kind of look at this bucket. I wouldn't say I'm too comfortable with it, although we have a frequency rate of 100%, at least having one golfer from this bucket inside the top 10 every single year, but I still don't have that much confidence in it. 0 to 1, but you could move it up to 0 to 2. Again, the conservative number over here shows above 1, so 0 to 2. And same for course history sixes. This would be 0 to 2 as well. Moving on to recent form. The recent form buckets, I should say. We want somewhere between 1 to 4 from the recent form ones. That's your best recent form. And like, they're the best golfers in the field. Now, conservative number is 3, 1 to 3. So it's really up to you. I'd say you could put 1 to 4. I think that's fine. The next bucket, your recent form 2s, you want 1 to 3 there. And we've had at least 2 inside the top 10 every single year. So keep that in mind. I think that's kind of remarkable. 1 to 4, conservative number 3, of recent form 3 golfers, but we've seen at least 2 inside this bucket inside the top 10 every single year that I've been doing these stats as well. So keep that in mind. And then it's 0 to 1 for the rest of the buckets. You could do 0 to 2 recent form 4s. Entirely up to you guys. I don't, it doesn't really swing me one way or the other. So those are your core 4 of the buckets, from the bucket system. Now we can go into the newer buckets, if you want to call them that. We'll start with the strokes gained buckets. I would highly suggest you watch that bucket system video if you want to know what a strokes gained 1 bucket is, or just all of the strokes gained buckets, because they do mean something. For strokes gained 1, we want somewhere between 1 to 4, conservative numbers 3. And here's another one. The max that we've ever seen inside the top 10 has been just 1 golfer from this bucket. Now, we usually see 9 every single year. We have 16 in that bucket this year. And the strength of field numbers that go into this, by the way, I do record strength of field. And by the way, that is also included in the cheat sheet right up here. Strength of field 252. Pretty decent strength of field. 140 of those points are in this bucket. So it's a very high quality bucket. You can kind of see that by the average salary as well. So I would say there's a high likelihood we see more than 1. There's a high likelihood we see at least 1, but it's pretty high still to see more than 1. So if you want to anchor your lineups around 2 golfers from the strokes gained 1 bucket, I don't see an issue with that. Strokes gained 2, 0 to 2. I'm sorry, 1 to 3. I was kind of getting ahead of myself. I thought this would be less than 2, but yeah, 1 to 3 strokes gained 2 golfers. This is a weird one. We've seen at least 3 inside the top 10 from this bucket every single year, and it really only goes back to 2017 for strokes gained stats. 2018, sorry, 2018. So not a lot. 4 years at most. We usually see 23. We only have 20 golfers in this bucket, and the strength of field isn't super high. So I do believe the minimum will go down with this bucket, but it's somewhere between 1 to 3. Strokes gained 3 bucket, you want somewhere between 0 to 2. That's pretty, even if we look at the conservative number, still right on par with that. We've seen at least 1 inside the top 10 every single year, and we have way more than we do on average. So keep that in mind. Strokes gained 4 buckets, 0 to 3. That seems pretty natural. Did we just go over this? I might be repeating myself. I'm sorry if we did. No, we didn't. We've seen at least 2. Now, there's 37 in that bucket. We usually see 34. I think getting to this at least 2 number, this is tight. Like, this projection is very tight. It is very possible. I don't have a lot of confidence that we'll see at least 2. I don't mind saying we'll see at least 1, but I don't know about at least 2. Strokes gained 5 bucket, 0 to 1. This is kind of the bottom of the barrel in the field. And then strokes gained 6 are just golfers that either Monday qualified for this event or just have not yet played in the last calendar year. Because I do keep strokes gained stats for the last calendar year. So if we don't have any strokes gained stats for them, most likely they're a rookie or they've Monday qualified. Or maybe they're an amateur that just got a sponsor exemption. Now moving on from there, our last new bucket, quote unquote, is the salary bucket. Usually what I've done in the past is I've gone over past optimal lineups. So if we go like back to 2019, yeah, I'd go to past optimal lineups, show you the different salaries that have been used, but to save time, we're going to avoid that. I just saw this video is going to reach over 25 minutes soon, which is a bummer. Oh well. We want somewhere between 0 to 2 10K golfers. We only have 3 in the field this week, so it's hard to justify saying we'll see at least 1, but you've got Sung Jae Im in that bucket, you've got Max Homa, and you've got Patrick Cantlay. Chances are really good we'll see a golfer from here being inside the top 10. 0 to 2 strokes, 9K golfers, 0 to 2, 8K golfers, 1 to 3, 7K golfers, and then the 6K range. I like to divide it up between 6.5 and above, and then 6.4 and below. I think at max you want 2 6K golfers, and you could change them, you know, between having 2 top 6K golfers or 1 top and 1 low 6K, or maybe just do 1 low 6K and skip the top 6K. I'm a firm believer you want a 6K golfer in your lineup in order to win a GPP. You certainly don't have to, but I've made a video on this where going the 10-9-8 7-7-6 route is going to hit 20% of the time or more. And if not, you still want a 6K golfer in your lineup. So I would suggest using one, whether that's a high 6 or low 6, or maybe you use 2. It doesn't matter to me. I think you still got to keep your mind open to doing a 6K golfer. Okay, going into marquee tee times. So let me highlight the top groups here for you. I do have this already sorted out. Again, if you're using the cheat sheet, you can do this as well. You just go to filter, put a filter on it, and you go to the group rank in column R over here, and you sort it by top to bottom. And that way you can find your marquee tee times this way. So again, we want 2 to 4 golfers from these marquee tee times, and not a golfer in the same group. If you want, go for it, but I highly encourage you don't do it. So if you're into Patrick Cantlay, avoid putting Sung J M or Harris English in your lineup. Likewise, if you're not on Patrick Cantlay, or maybe you're not on Sung J M, maybe you include Harris English in your lineup. Maybe put him in your life. Entirely up to you. I really like Cantlay and I like Sung J, so there's probably little chance that I'm playing Harris English. So I'm probably starting right here. I mean, I've got no issue doing that. Both of them are solid picks. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those. Going to the next lineup, or the next marquee tee time, I really like Cameron Davis, and I could see myself pairing up Cameron Davis with like Cantlay or Im. I think that's a very viable option. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Early leans tell me I want to, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just avoid it altogether. The next group, Homa Kim and Siwoo Kim. Tom Kim and Siwoo Kim. I think if you don't want either Cantlay or Im as your 10K golfer, going to Homa is not a bad choice. And he's in a good group. But perhaps we kind of stay away from that. I mean, if you remember the President's Cup, Tom Kim and Siwoo Kim played together. Siwoo was having a blast playing with Tom Kim. This type of stuff transcends into your game. So if you're with a golfer that you enjoy playing with, and PGA Tour talks about this all the time, like golfers on the PGA Tour talk about this all the time. If you're in a group that you enjoy playing with, you tend to do better. It's not a foolproof plan. It's not like it always happens where they play better, but if all things were equal, let's say 50-50, I think it bumps it up to like 60% play better, as opposed to just being a flat 50. So it gives I think it gives like a 10% boost. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I do like Tom Kim, and I don't mind Siwoo Kim. So if I'm not going Cameron Davis, maybe I'm going Tom Kim. But if I am going Cameron Davis, I don't mind going Siwoo Kim. And if I'm not going Taylor Pendrith with Siwoo, or Taylor Pendrith as my 8K golfer, then I don't mind going Siwoo. But if I'm not going Siwoo, Taylor Pendrith is my next pick. He's in a group with Ricky Fowler and Jason Day. I will be staying away from Jason Day at all costs. I just don't believe playing Jason Day unless he's in the 6K range. And I think over the last year, he's been there once. And I was like, yeah, this is where he should be. This is where I don't mind playing Jason Day. I'll probably be staying away from him. And again, following the marquee tee time rules, I actually really like Ricky Fowler. Remember, he just got Butch Harmon as a coach. He brought him back. Ricky Fowler is playing really good golf with Butch as his coach. So I have no issue going to Ricky Fowler. But again, I'm staying away from Jason Day. So I like Ricky Fowler. I like Taylor Pendrith from that group. I don't think I'm going to talk about the rest of these golfers, but there are decent options. And remember, you want 2 to 4 from the marquee tee times. And if you can't make up your mind, use the optimizer. I've got this written in as a condition down here, 2 to 4. Right here. This is your Marquee Tea Time bucket. And I have it set at 2 to 4. So it will select at least 2 golfers. And I've actually included all the presets for what I just went over when we went over the buckets, that you want, you know, at least 1 to 3 recent form 1s, 1 to 3 recent form 2s, stuff like that. I've included that here. So if you are interested in the optimizer, again, be subscribed to the channel, comment down below. I look at that. I make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If not, I'll ask for proof. I want to only reward those that participate on the channel. So I'm not asking for much. Subscribe, comment down below, or share on Twitter. Those will all give you access to using this optimizer. And then reach out to me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com. But remember, I liked Patrick Cantlay from the Marquee Tea Time, so I'm going to lock him in. You can lock golfers in. With that, I also want to put Taylor Pendrith. So let's see what my favorite, or the best, essentially the best Cantlay Taylor Pendrith lineup. It includes Keith Mitchell, Matt Kuchar, Benny Ann, and Brendan Todd. I don't mind that at all. It actually had casted out Svensson, so I want to make sure Svensson's available. Let's run it again. It's going to cross off Brendan Todd. We won't see him again. Oh, Keith Mitchell, Adam Hadwin, Chris Kirk, and Benny Ann. So it doesn't include a 6K golfer. It includes 2 8K golfers, and that's fine. If you wanted to follow along with me saying the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, you literally could do that here in the conditions by setting it one, you know, at least one 10K, at least one 9K, at least one 8K, 2 7Ks, and at least one 6K. If we run that, locking in Cantlay and Taylor Pendrith, let's see what spits out. So it goes Cantlay, Cameron Davis, Taylor Pendrith, Kuchar, Svensson, and Ben Griffin. I don't mind Ben Griffin. I don't mind Ben Griffin. I was just looking at stats because I put all these spreadsheets together. Griffin was showing pretty decent on the strokes gain stats. If we run it again, now we get Tom Hoge in there with Pendrith and Cantlay, Benny Ann, Seung-Hoon Kim, and Dylan Fratelli. Let's take Pendrith out and say we want to include Siwoo Kim instead. So it goes with Hoge, Kuchar, Ann, and Austin Smotherman. Love that. That's a great lineup. One more here, and then I'm going to switch it up to Sung J M because I like Sung J M. Right, yeah, it just changes it to Adam Schenk. So let's do this. Let's put in Sung J, and then we are also going to include Taylor. Can we do? I forget. Can we do Taylor Pendrith? Yes, we can. Go with Taylor Pendrith. I'm guessing Cameron Davis is probably going to be included some way or another. Yeah, of course. So Sung J, Cam Davis, Pendrith, Kuchar, Svensson, and Chris Gotterup. That's a sexy lineup. That is a very good lineup, and I'm probably putting that as my, yeah, this is a great lineup. I'm gonna leave you with that. I think that's one of the better lineups that you can put on the slate. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. So we went long, 33 minutes. This is kind of like the normal whenever I go through these videos. I think it was great. I think it was straight to the point. Let you guys know that you want to use the cheat sheet, go through the buckets that way. Yeah, I like it this way. Just a reminder, you want a chance to win $30, you gotta be subscribed, comment down below, or share on Twitter. That'll get you points, or that'll get you an entry into this giveaway. And if we reach 500 subscribers by the end of the week, which probably isn't likely because the fall swing is hard to gain new followers, I'll run this giveaway for 30. If not, we rerun the giveaway next week for 20 bucks. And then we'll do it again the next week if we don't hit the goal, and it'll be worth 10, but then I'm giving away $10 no matter what. Also in the near future, I've got a merch line. So I'm probably going to be giving shirts away probably every month. And I think it's just going to be it's probably going to follow a lot of this giveaway, where the person who has the most participation on this channel, I'm just going to give a free shirt away. Also, the shirts will be available for you to purchase. So if you were interested in a shirt, I'll showcase it in next week's video. If you're interested in that shirt, it's 15 bucks. If you're in the United States, I'll ship it to you for free. If you're overseas, then we'll figure something out. We're either adding like $5 to it, maybe a little more. Who knows? But yeah, I'll showcase that next week. One other reminder, if you're not on Prize Picks yet and you are in a state that allows it, I have a promo code you can use. And if you do put $20 into your account, I'm going to give you your $20 back. That way you can play it for free. Prize Picks will match your deposit up to 100 bucks. So that 20 turns into 40. Super simple. Link in the description below. But that is all that I have. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.